let's talk about this $9.2 billion loan that Ford has applied for. Why don't you take that away, Mike?
So the last time Ford applied for a loan or received a loan, they're now like kind of closing this, but was in November 26, 2006. They were about 18 months ahead of the economic recession that came to everybody who lived in 2007, 2008, all the way to 2012. We saw the worst financial times since the Great Depression in the United States. And Ford was forward thinking. They turned around and got a $23 billion loan 18 months before that, and they leveraged everything that they had. You know, the blue oval that you see for the Ford, they leveraged that logo. They said, you know what, if we don't pay you back, you own Ford. They leveraged their whole company when they did this. And at the end of the day, they didn't owe the government any money because, you know, 18 months later, you had places like General Motors, and
they got sold, didn't they? No, not GM. It was Fiat Chrysler got sold.
Well, they merged, right? So
they merged, yeah.
Chrysler had taken over prior to that, and then Fiat, and then Chrysler dumped, Daimler dumped Chrysler and left him with no cash, right? So Daimler clears out the bank and then says, all right, we're done with Chrysler. We'll take your $20 billion and have a good day. That's what Mercedes did to Chrysler. So fast forward a few years, and you have a company in crisis along with General Motors, and they both plummeted. With everything they had to take out, you know, as the government was handing out money to everybody anyway, they were like, we'll take some of that. $14 billion later, and the government actually made money on that, you know, because they basically got the return from the stock options. And when when they sold it, you know, I think there was a good net profit the United States made on those stocks. So it's pretty interesting to think about. But recently, the Department of Energy is now the loaning company to Ford, and they're taking $9.2 billion to build 3 battery factories. This originates from the Inflation Reduction Act from the Biden administration, which is kind of like an oxymoron when you're like,
that floods the economy with new money.
What? Right? We're going to flood the economy with new money, but the inflation's going to go down. But interestingly enough, inflation has kind of curbed itself, but I don't think it had anything to do with this act.
No.
This act.
With the Fed raising rates.
Well, they raised them again, 25 basis points. I mean, they said they're not going to stop till October. But yeah, the DOE has $412 billion in lending capacity now to lend for energy projects and all the above. Now, prior to this act, some of their biggest loans were like $500 million. Now these guys have to get rid of a pile of money. And if you go to this article and you scroll down a little bit, you can see where they're allocating all these funds. You can see all the different places that they're doing. I think it's $20 billion to the tribal community.
Wow.
That 100%.
Elizabeth Warren will be pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean, good identification for her. Totally understandable. I mean, what a nightmare there.
For her people, you know?
So they have to take this money and then loan it. But they did a partnership with a company called SKON from Korea, their battery manufacturing company. So they're going to build 2 facilities in Tennessee and 1 in Kentucky, or the other way around.
A lot of this is for green stuff, isn't it? Like green energy.
Yeah, that's basically what they're trying to do, is pump the green energy. And I'm still at a loss. I mean, if you looked at some of the burning fires in Kuwait for tires, and you look at like how China disposes of their energy resources that they need, like green energy to me is not even realistic in the United States. You know, it's like we don't contribute on any scale compared to what what happens with the Asian market when it comes to emissions and things like that. You know, we're less than 1/3 of their issues. So
Yeah.
so like if you really
fracking already helped us lower it considerably, didn't it?
right. And so it's now you head over to Asia and you know the Middle East, and you start talking about the emissions that come from their recycling habits and their detriment to the planet. It's not even comparable. Like we have so many laws, we have the EPA, we have all these different things that restrict us, which is great to some extent, but how are you gonna compare it to the other parts of the world? You know, it seems like every year there's a new problem. But the new Ford's gonna put together this electric vehicles, which is interesting because they were the first ones to announce that they were going to use Tesla's charging stations with Tesla this year. So I think it's kind of interesting that it's going to take place. I don't know, you know, what they're going to really try to achieve and how long it's going to take to build this factory. I mean, Tesla built their gigafactory in China in 9 months. I'm going to put that pretty much on slave labor. If not very close to slave labor, given the Communist Party's unethical and unhuman acts that they perform against their people. So, but they're also building another one in Mexico, and the estimations there are 18 to 20 months, which is realistic, and that's crazy fast to build a almost a 1 million square foot facility. So we'll see how long it takes for Ford and this Korean company to build out their gigafactory examples.
Tesla is actually building a distribution center in Orange County, New York, which is, well, it might not mean anything to the audience, but it's basically where I am in the country. Tesla to open distribution center in Orange County. So it puts us on the map.
Woohoo! I mean,
yeah.
Don't you guys have Legoland there now too?
We have Legoland. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, I mean, distribution center for batteries. Let's hope they don't leak. That's all I'm going to say. But I mean, that'll probably create a lot of articles there.
Yeah.
Or not a lot of jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing, but Tesla is taking a little bit of fire recently for their manual transmissions, and then their stocks with their board and their stocks.
What are these manual transmissions that you were talking about?
Oh, so I guess what it turns out is the manual transmissions don't allow the cars to upgrade their services and to create new software updates. So they're getting hit with different lawsuits.
So which ones have manual transmissions? Is it the early one?
Well, first editions. Yeah, the first edition Model S's and stuff.
Okay.
Long, I mean 2009, 10, 12.
I see.
Old school ones. The first ones you saw driving down the road and you're going, what's that? Kind of like when the Karmas came out. Remember those?
The what?
The Karma electric vehicles.
No.
You never heard of them? Yeah, they came out, but I'm pretty sure they're done now. They were emerging around the same time as Tesla, and Tesla kind of put them into the dust. But I think they had some electrical issues. They were catching fire and things like that. But we'll see how it goes. Ultimately, this issue with Ford, I'm curious if it's like a predecessor. Right? Because we know the rest of the world right now is not pumping at the same caliber the United States is.
Right, yeah.
The rest of the world is, in my eyes, doing half of what we're doing still. And it's like, and we're slowly slowing down, but all the numbers say differently. But when you really start to get into the trenches, you go, well, this person's looking for a job. This person's looking for a job. And, a year ago, no one was looking for a job. They were going, I'm busy.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of the same sentiment I was getting in 2009 when everybody was like, I'm looking for a job. I need a job. I'll do anything. I need to make money. And so now it's just starting to happen.
2009, though, was already well into the
Yeah, but I'm
Prices.
saying like that's when things were really really loud. You know, your
When the
neighbor.
unemployment rate peaked and stuff.
Yeah, things got pretty reckless. But you could see it in 2006, especially in the Midwest, where you had companies, you know, like Ford taking the $23 billion loan to try to stay above water, which they did. I mean, good for them. But we'll see what happens and see if it turns out to be what it's supposed to be. I think we'll still stay above water in the United States, but we'll probably see growth, especially
Right, so
with
it could be a leading indicator that a recession is coming, not financial advice.
it could be, but also I definitely look at it as an indicator that we're slowing down growth.
Yeah.
That's for sure. With the commercial buildings, commercial, all of that stuff, we're definitely slowing down our growth patterns.